Before this video starts, if you enjoy this video, there are many more like it already on the channel with many more like it to come in the future, so subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would really appreciate it. Not 100, I need to learn to adjust that. I'm trying to hit 125,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would really appreciate it. I upload 6 days a week on this channel, so if you're looking for some consistent basketball talk, this is the place for it. Also drop a like on this video, it only takes 1 second and makes a massive difference. Also real quick, there is a new episode of the Rusty and Mojo show out if you have not seen it yet. We had Legend of Winning on, and we were in person for this one because we were all in Atlanta at the same time, so go give that one a watch. Today I am continuing this hot take series because the first episode was extraordinarily well received, like way better performing than I anticipated it being, so I figured I'd bring it back. Now I want to make these bi-weekly, maybe even once every 3 weeks if it starts to get stale, because you don't want to beat a dead horse by just doing the same type of series over and over. So going to be bi-weekly from here on out. I just felt like doing it again, and because I was too lazy to write a script the other day. So it's Labor Day, you gotta give me a bit of a pass. So let's jump right into some of these hot takes. Pascal Siakam has peaked as a player. Now this one I don't agree with or disagree with because I think there's some validity to it. The thing is, he hasn't peaked, but also I don't think that he's gonna get a whole lot better than he is right now. And this is the thing that happens a lot with players who are rising up to stardom. I don't know why everyone just expects guys to make massive jumps every year. Sometimes a guy comes in the league and he is what he is for his entire career. Sometimes a guy spends 5 seasons in the league, isn't any good, and then he comes and one day he's just very good. Nothing is guaranteed in terms of player development, and I think in the case of Siakam, he's a good bit older, and this is really just his first year as a star level player. And I actually have a video on him planned for if the Raptors lose this series because he's been playing like dog shit in the playoffs. So yeah, Pascal, I don't think he's going to get a whole lot better, but I also wouldn't say that he's peaked. There are still things that he can tangibly work on that aren't just massive changes. Like I think he get a little bit tighter of a handle, become a little bit better of a playmaker, and things like that. Anthony Davis's post game is crazy overrated. Now, I don't know about crazy overrated, but I would agree that yes, it is overrated. Anthony Davis was supposed to be just dominating the Houston Rockets inside because of their matchup with PJ Tucker, but that's not been the case. In fact, the guy has been taking a crazy amount of fadeaway mid-range jump shots out of the post. Now, don't get me wrong, he hits them. But if you're Houston, you're taking that shot every day of the week because I'd much rather Anthony Davis take a fadeaway from 15 feet than push my center out of the way and get a layup or a dunk. Those are two drastically different options, and I'm choosing the mid-range jump shot every time if I'm Houston. So if Anthony Davis is this dominant post player, he should be able to push PJ Tucker out of the way, but he's not been able to do so, and that's partly because PJ Tucker is underrated, and the idea that Anthony Davis was going to dominate the Rockets in the first place was well overblown. So his post game is overrated. I wouldn't say it's crazy overrated though. He's still one of the best post players in the league by a considerable margin. PJ Tucker is more valuable to the Rockets than Russell Westbrook. This one is interesting, and it's obviously the one in the thumbnail. I don't know necessarily what to make of this because Russell Westbrook, it's really like a conversation of value and impact rather than talent, because obviously Russell Westbrook is more talented than PJ Tucker. But I find this interesting crossroads with impact versus talent because Marcus Smart is one of the most impactful players in the league. Like in terms of impacting, winning or losing, I think Marcus Smart's probably a top 30 or so player in the league. But no way in hell am I putting him in my top 30 players in the league because he's not that talented. Like, I would consider Zach LaVine more talented than Marcus Smart, but he's not as impactful on winning as Marcus Smart is. So how do you rank those guys? It's an interesting conversation. Now, in this case, PJ Tucker is incredibly valuable to the Rockets, even more so now that he is playing the center position, and it's understandable to have this take. I would still say this is probably coming off of the cusp of Russell Westbrook playing poorly in the playoffs, and I would say, in general, Russell Westbrook is more impactful. He just needs to figure it out. He's recovering from injury, and I don't expect him to be this bad from here on out. PJ Tucker is either the second or third best center, depending on whether or not you count Anthony Davis as a center. I don't know where all this PJ Tucker love is coming from. I guess it's because he's been playing well in this Lakers series, but no, he's not a top 2 or 3 center in the league. You're out of your fucking mind. For one, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Bam Adebayo. Just those names right off of the top of my head, I say without any hesitation, are better than PJ Tucker. Maybe Rudy Gobert a little bit, but that's it. And I do consider Anthony Davis to be a center, even though he refuses to play the position, so that's another one on top of that. So no, PJ Tucker is not a top 3 center in the league. That's some wild shit to say. Switch Luka and Trae Young, and the results for both teams are the same. Hard disagree. The thing is, I am a lot higher on Trae Young than I think a lot of people are. However, Luka Doncic is on a whole nother fucking level. Like, it's not even a contest, and I'm not even gonna really explain why, because Luka Doncic is a top 8 player in the league. Trae Young is a top 25 or so player in the league. It's not the same. Westbrook is a top 3 point guard ever. This one's not as insane as it might seem right on the surface level for one main reason, which is if you're talking about all-time ranking in terms of accomplishment, or if you're talking about talent. Because all-time talent-wise, Magic Johnson and Stephen Curry are definitely above Russ. After that, there's a conversation for him and Isaiah Thomas. There's a conversation for him and Gary Payton. A conversation for him and Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, John Stockton. He's definitely better than John Stockton. You know how I feel about him. There's even a conversation for Chris Paul, which I would not agree with, but it's there. But no, I do not agree that he's a top 3 point guard ever. I would put, obviously, Magic, Steph, Gary Payton, Isaiah Thomas, and Chris Paul over him. Steve Nash was probably pretty close. But yeah. Not a top 3 point guard. The Lakers aren't deep enough to face teams like the Nuggets or the Clippers late in the playoffs. Now, while yes, I cited depth as the main reason why I believed the Clippers were a better team than the Los Angeles Lakers, at the same time, depth can be overrated quite a bit when talking about playoff success. Because when you look at the past couple of NBA championship teams, not all of them were really deep teams. A lot of them were actually pretty lacking in depth. In the case of the Lakers and the Clippers, I definitely think they're pretty close talent-wise in total. Kawhi and Paul George is not good as a duo as LeBron and Anthony Davis. So the Lakers have that edge, but then the Clippers' depth kind of makes up for that. But then in the case of the Denver Nuggets, no way in hell would they beat the Lakers. I'm sorry, they're not going to. Unless they pull off some magical shit and make me look like an idiot for saying there's no way. At a certain point, the Lakers have 2 superstars and the Nuggets have 1 who is a center, and Jamal Murray has been kind of lacking lately after being ridiculous versus the Utah Jazz. So, no, the Nuggets, definitely not. The Clippers, I do think depth could be the reason why they beat the Lakers, but I wouldn't just dismiss the Lakers because they aren't a very deep team. Jalen Brown is the 2nd best player on the Celtics. I tend to agree. It sometimes varies night to night. It's either him or Kemba Walker, but Jalen Brown is getting a lot better at creating his own shot. He's very good within the flow of the offense, and he's a good defensive player, though he's not amazing at team defense. So, as a result, I do believe Jalen Brown is a little bit better than Kemba Walker. Kemba is a better shot creator and a better playmaker, but I think Brown beats him in defense, and the offense is not a huge margin. Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA. I actually agree with this one. Now, I still believe that Nick Nurse deserved Coach of the Year for what the Raptors were able to do in the regular season. However, Eric Spoelstra, to me, has been one of the most underrated coaches in the league for quite a while, and I actually think he's gotten the title of best coach in the league this year because the past couple of seasons, Greg Popovich has been slipping because he's been a little bit too committed to old school basketball, and as a result, the Spurs have suffered on top of the whole Kawhi Leonard debacle. And outside of that, the other coaches in the league, Nick Nurse, even though I do think he deserved Coach of the Year, I don't think he's better at coaching than Eric Spoelstra. Mike Budenholzer, I think he sucks. All the other coaches in that conversation, like Brad Stevens or Rick Carlisle, what's his fucking name? Mike D'Antoni, I don't think they're as good a coaches as Eric Spoelstra is. So, yeah, I do believe Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA now. Honestly, Eric Spoelstra's coaching is more of a reason to point to for their success over the Milwaukee Bucks, more so than Jimmy Butler. And I don't think he's been given enough credit for that because their game plan has just decimated the Bucks. The first week of the playoffs should be taken into consideration for league awards. No, it should not. Absolutely not. Now, if you want to make the argument that the playoffs should be taken into consideration for for regular season awards and it shouldn't be just regular season anymore. That's fair enough. However, first round only is really, really stupid because that allows you to be reactionary. It allows you to not take into consideration what happens after the fact. If you're going to take the playoffs into consideration at all, you either go all in or you don't go in at all. You can't half step here. You have to choose one or the other. And in this case, absolutely no, not with just 1 week or one round into the playoffs. If you want to go all the way, sure, I disagree, but there's an argument to be made there. But like first round matchup, rarely does anything that significant happen in the first round, so I don't think it'd be that game changing, but it's just not, no. That's not a good formula. I don't know why that bothers me so much, but it really does. Reminder, by the way, since this keeps coming up, the MVP and all of these other awards are regular season awards. So the Milwaukee Bucks losing in the second round and Giannis performing poorly has fuck all to do with him being the MVP. So please stop mentioning that and saying that LeBron deserves MVP because he's been playing good in the playoffs and Giannis hasn't, because the playoffs don't fucking matter. That award, everything that's going to contribute to who gets that award has already been set in stone. Nothing else is going to be had for that. So yeah, that is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.